Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Saturday, May 10th, 2025. If you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Put your baseball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my daily rundown best bet in Major League Baseball, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alright, here we go. Here are the games for Saturday, Major League Baseball. First up, we got the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the Washington Nationals. Andre Pallante and Trevor Williams are the projected starters. Both these starting pitchers are not in great form right now. Williams has given up 9 runs his last 2 starts combined. Pallante's given up 4+ runs in 3 of his last 4 outings. And his control's been off. He had 4 walks given up his last start against the Mets. His strikeout numbers are shrinking, and now on the season a 16-21 walk-to-strikeout ratio. 6 home runs given up as well. For me, I think there's going to be a back-and-forth kind of game offensively, and while the Nationals' bullpen's not great, I think they have the much better lineup in this game, in this series. They played better at home than they have on the road compared to St. Louis, who's been miserable on the road this season with a big-time losing record. So I'm going to side with the Nationals in this game on the money line at Nationals Park. Next up, we got the Pittsburgh Pirates hosting the Atlanta Braves. A.J. Smith-Shawver and Andrew Heaney are the projected starters. Now, Heaney's pitched well overall this season, but not in his last couple of games. His control's been way off, and the Pirates lost both of those games. They were shut out in both those games as well. The offense has struggled, but I think that Heaney can bounce back here. When you look at the Braves overall this season, don't love this lineup against a lefty right now. A.J. Smith-Shawver, one of his best starts of his career in the last game against the Reds, 8 innings of shutout baseball, but only 5 strikeouts. He did walk 4 batters as well. I think he could pitch pretty well, but I do think the Pirates are going to be competitive in this game. And while I think the Braves have the better bullpen, I don't think it's by as large a margin as you would think. When you look at the Pirates, bullpen on paper in terms of projected WAR, they're right around league average. I think it's going to be a competitive game, and at this kind of price, I think it is worth taking a shot here with the Pittsburgh Pirates. I know they've been tough to watch this season for the most part, but I'm going to take a chance here. Great plus money price with the Pittsburgh Pirates on the money line. Next up, the New York Yankees taking on the Athletics. We got Carlos Rodon and J.P. Sears as the projected starters. Now, J.P. Sears is facing his former team in this one. This was Sears was acquired by the A's in that Frankie Montas trade back in 2022, and he's been one of their better starting pitchers for the Athletics the last couple of seasons, but he's not pitched well against this current Yankees lineup against his former team. About 40 plate appearances or so with a pretty low strikeout rate, a high walk rate, and an expected slugging percentage at .724. That is really steep. The Yankees have done really well against left-handed pitching this season and in the last 30 days. Carlos Rodon has pitched well against this Athletics lineup, the current A's lineup, about 50 plate appearances, decent strikeout rate, low walk rate, and a low xWOBA at 278. I just think that the Yankees win this game and potentially cover the run line. I think that the starting pitching matchup is beneficial. I think the Yankees bullpen is going to be good enough. So I'm going to take the Yankees and take them on the money line and run line. Next up, we got the Milwaukee Brewers taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. We got Tobias Myers and Taj Bradley as the starters. Now, this is a tough one. I do think that both of these teams are better than their current records, but I'm going to side with the Rays in this one in the first 5 on the money line. I think that Bradley is the better starting pitching option, maybe slightly, but good enough to take him in the first 5. I think the Brewers may have a bullpen advantage in this game, but when you look at Tobias Myers, it's a very small sample size, so you don't want to overreact to just 12 innings, but the expected numbers aren't the best. A 7 to 8 walk to strikeout ratio is not where it needs to be. I think the Rays can get to him for a couple of runs. I still think it's going to be an overall lower scoring game than what we're used to seeing at Steinbrenner Field. Maybe take the under in the first 5, but I think the Rays on the money line in the first 5 innings is the better play. Next up, we got the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the Cleveland Guardians. We got Ranger Suarez and Tanner Bybee as the starters. There's no doubting that Suarez struggled in his season debut, but you look at that game, 3 2/3 innings, couple of walks, not the best, but 6 strikeouts in those 3 2/3, no home runs given up, a 7-5 ground ball to fly ball ratio. So it's not like he was giving up a bunch of line drive, extra base hits into the gap and, home runs. It was a lot of singles, a lot of grounders, and he was a little bit unfortunate, unlucky in my opinion. The BABIP in that game was about 580, which is, extremely unsustainable. And I think Suarez bounces back, and he pitched really well in the rehab starts. I like the fact that the strikeout stuff was working. He's facing a much weaker lineup here. When you look at the numbers against left-handed pitching in the last month, the Guardians are near the bottom of the league in team OPS. I think Suarez bounces back. I think the Phillies can find a couple of runs off Tanner Bybee, who is not really pitching as sharp as he was last year. The ERA above 4 so far this season. The big concern for me is not really missing a lot of bats in his last couple of games. I'm going to roll with the Phillies in this one at a pretty solid price because of Suarez's struggles in that season debut on the money line. Next up, we got the Texas Rangers taking on the Detroit Tigers. We got Jack Flaherty and Jacob deGrom as the starters. Now, looking at a pitcher's win-loss record is meaningless when trying to judge whether that pitcher is having a good season or not. But it's definitely worth noting that while the Tigers are having a great season this year with a first-place record in the AL Central, it's not been because of Jack Flaherty's starts. We've seen them really struggle when Flaherty's been on the mound this year. They've lost his last 4 games, and they're 1-5 overall this season. The only win was against the lowly Chicago White Sox. But when you look at Flaherty, he was pitching well and not getting run support. Now he's not necessarily pitching the best. We saw his last game against the Astros, 5 innings, 4 runs, a couple of home runs, a couple of walks given up, and an 8-5 loss. So they backed him up in the run support, but he was not sharp enough to get the win. And I think that with Jacob deGrom on the other side, who's in great form right now, yes, his lineup behind him is not great. The Rangers have been one of the worst offenses in baseball, but deGrom's in great form. The bullpen's sharp. I think the Rangers can do enough damage against Jack Flaherty to score enough to win this game and get a decent price because of the Rangers' struggles. The Tigers' big win-loss record on the season being one of the best records in baseball. We're not going to get prices on deGrom like this too often, so I'm going to take the Rangers on the money line on the road. Next up, we got the Boston Red Sox taking on the Kansas City Royals. Garrett Crochet and Cole Ragans are the starters. 2 good starting pitching options, 2 of the best lefties in the American League. But I do think that Crochet has been a little bit more trustworthy, a little bit more consistent, especially on the road, where he's 3-0 with a 1.65 ERA, 27 in the third innings, just 1 home run given up, and 29 strikeouts in those road starts. While Ragans, yes, he pitched really well in his last game, a great bounce-back start, 11 strikeouts in 5 innings. Before that, he gave up 9 runs to the Tigers and Rockies in 7 innings combined. So the Royals have backed him up. They've scored a lot of runs for him. We've seen the Royals win 4 of his last 5 starts. But against Crochet, I don't love this matchup because the Red Sox have had much better numbers offensively in the last 30 days against left-handed pitching than the Royals have. In fact, KC's near the bottom of the league in a lot of the important hitting metrics, OPS, isolated power against lefties in those last 30 days. So for me, I'm going to roll the Red Sox. I trust their bullpen. I think Crochet can go 6 strong. Give me the Red Sox on the money line. Next up, we got the Houston Astros taking on the Cincinnati Reds. Brady Singer and Lance McCullers Jr. are the projected starters. Now, when you look at the Houston Astros as a team offensively against right-handed pitching in the last 30 days, they've not been great. They're near the bottom of the league. But when you specifically look at their numbers at home, playing in Daikin Park against right-handed pitching, they're actually 4th best in baseball in the last 30 days. Makes you wonder if the MLB needs to check on those trash cans in Houston. But nonetheless, I think that this is actually a good spot for him to score some runs early. Brady Singer has actually pitched pretty well against the current Astros lineup in his career, but the expected slugging percentage is a little bit steep. I could see Houston scoring a couple of runs early. I also think that the Reds match up pretty well with Lance McCullers Jr. We saw him in his season debut have 3 walks given up in 3 2/3. And when he's struggling in his career, it's usually because of the control, and the Reds have a pretty high walk rate against righties in the last month, so I think they actually match up well. I'm going to go with the over in the first 5 innings between Cincinnati and Houston. Next up, the Miami Marlins taking on the Chicago White Sox. We got Edward Cabrera and Shane Smith as the projected starters. I mentioned I still believe in the upside that Cabrera has on the mound as a starting pitcher. We saw a better outing from him in his last game. Still wasn't the sharpest. He only went 5 2/3, but 2 runs given up in those 5 2 with 4 strikeouts, no home runs, and just the 1 walk. You'll take that if you're the Marlins. I think that'll be good enough here for the Marlins to win this game as well. I think Cabrera can go a quality start, 6 innings, 2 runs or so, 5 strikeouts plus. And I think that the Marlins may not do a ton of damage against Shane Smith, but he's a starting pitcher that's consistently been about 5 innings this year. Doesn't really go too much deeper than 5 innings. A couple of times we've seen him go into the 6th, but I think that the White Sox bullpen is at a disadvantage late in this game because I trust the Marlins lineup a lot more in a matchup like that between the bullpens. So give me the Marlins and the under in this game. Next up, the Chicago Cubs taking on the New York Mets. No official starter right now for Chicago, but we should see Tyler McGill for the Mets. Now, McGill's not coming off his best start of the season, but I still like the fact that he was able to miss a lot of bats in that game. 6 strikeouts in 5 innings. He's had 15 Ks his last 11 1/3. And even go back to the previous start against the Phillies, it was 5 1/3, 10 strikeouts. Overall this season, 36 innings, just 2 home runs given up with 45 Ks. But both of those home runs were given up in the last 2 starts. They were also given up on the road. And when you see his numbers at Citi Field, He's been excellent. 14 and 2/3, no runs, 21 strikeouts. The control's been off a little bit at home, but he has been sharp at Citi Field. I think he pitches well. I think he bounces back. It's a tough matchup. The Cubs are a good lineup against righties, but McGill has been one of the better pitchers and really underrated pitchers in the National League this season. We'll see who the Cubs pitch in this game, but I don't love that bullpen, and the Mets have been so strong at Citi Field. I'm going to roll the Mets in this one on the money line at home. Next up is San Francisco Giants taking on the Minnesota Twins. We got Logan Webb and Joe Ryan as the projected starters. I like the under in this game. We got two great starting pitching options, two solid bullpens. Minnesota, I think, has the best bullpen in baseball. They've got two of their best relievers that had a day off on Friday. I think that Joe Ryan can put together a solid outing. And while Logan Webb has not been the best on the road, he's also not been the best against the current Twins lineup. I still think he can put together a quality start. I think the Twins win this game in a low-scoring affair. I'll lean towards Minnesota and the under. Next up, the San Diego Padres taking on the Colorado Rockies. Stephen Kolek and Bradley Blaylock are the projected starters. I'm going to lean towards the over in this game. I think, Blaylock certainly susceptible to giving up some runs early. We saw his last Coors Field outing, 4 innings, 6 runs against the Reds. On the other side, Kolek pitched really well in his season debut, but not a lot of Coors Field experience, of course. He pitched there last year out of the bullpen, mixed results. I think the Rockies can find a few runs off of him. I'm going to go with the over in Padres-Rockies. Next up, the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Dustin May and Corbin Burnes are the projected starters. Now, quietly, Corbin Burnes has put together some really strong outings. We know he really struggled in his first couple of starts as an Arizona Diamondback, but since then, a lot of quality outings. He's given up 2 runs or fewer, 3 earned runs or fewer in his last 4 games. And when you look at on the other side, Dustin May is not really in the best form. We mentioned the regression concerns in his game. We saw him struggle against Atlanta in that last start. Now you go on the road at a hitter-friendly ballpark against a Diamondbacks team. It's been one of the best lineups in baseball against right-handed pitching this year. I don't love this spot for Dustin May. I think Corbin Burnes is the better option. And because of his early season struggles and the fact that it's the Dodgers on the other side, we can get the Diamondbacks at a pretty cheap price in this game. So I'm going to roll the Diamondbacks on the money line at Chase Field. Next up, we've got the Los Angeles Angels taking on the Baltimore Orioles. Kyle Gibson and Jack Kohanowitz are the projected starters. Obviously, I'm not looking to back either of these starting pitchers right now in their current form. The Angels have lost Kohanowitz his last 5 games. Gibson, the Orioles have lost both of his first starts. He struggled mightily against the Yankees in his season debut. 5 home runs given up. He was a bit better against the Royals, but not by much. In that second start, 4 innings, 3 runs, a home run as well, and another loss 11-6. And for me, I just think that the Orioles have the much better lineup in this game. I also think they have the much better bullpen. So while I think both teams can trade some runs and home runs early in this one, by the end of the game, I do expect the Orioles to win it. So I'm going to go with the Orioles on the money line on the road. And the final game we're to talk about for the Saturday card in Major League Baseball, it's the Blue Jays and the Mariners. Bowden Francis and Logan Evans are the starters. I think Bowden Francis is a lot better than his current ERA. We've seen him struggle in his last couple of starts, but I think he could get back to solid form. I know it's a tough matchup against the Mariners, but it is at a pitcher-friendly ballpark. I think he's the better option in this game by a good margin. I think Logan Evans, not necessarily a major league caliber starter quite yet. We saw him pitch pretty well in his season debut, but he got crushed in the last start against the Rangers, and that's a Rangers team that's not been great offensively this year. I got to roll the Blue Jays at a really solid price on the money line on the road. Seattle's been tough to go against, especially at T-Mobile, but I think the Blue Jays find a win here. I'm going to go with Toronto on the money line. And that's it. Those are the games for Saturday in baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium, and there is a link in the description. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.